This is episode 122 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Soli Cayetano. Soli is an out-of-state real estate investor who is up to 49 units at 26 years old. She quit her 9 to 5 at 23, was a millionaire by 25. She has so much more going on. We're going to talk all about it. Soli, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. I was telling you earlier that I remember when you first got started, and your journey has just been really interesting and I think really inspiring to younger people and people who just got into investing later. How important has it been for you to share your journey with others and then let other people see that it's possible?
Yeah, I think without sharing my journey, I would not be anywhere close to where I am today. And so I started my Instagram way back before I even had a first rental property.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of documenting, submitting offers, freaking out, flying out to my first property when I closed on it, and really asking, more so like asking for people for advice from people who were much further ahead of me. And so through sharing my journey, I kind of found a new crowd. When I first started, I was in college. And as you know, people in college are not really focused on investing in real estate. But as I found my crowd on Instagram, I completely changed my mindset about what was important to me. I changed my friend group. They were all investors. I changed
Yeah.
my value set, what I wanted to do with my life. And without doing that and without finding people on social media, I don't think I would be here today.
How hard was it though to detach from, like, I think this happens at all ages. You have a certain friend set or group who want to stay at this level, but there was something in you that wanted to go to a much higher level. Was it hard for you at that age, young, still being in college, to say like, listen, I don't want to do that. I want to do this stuff.
Lucky for me, it was the pandemic, I guess, blessing and a curse. And so didn't matter if I wanted to detach from my friends or not. We all kind of detached, and a lot of my friends actually ended up moving home.
Yeah.
My parents were divorced, and I didn't really have anywhere to stay, so I ended up staying like on campus still, and I didn't really have anyone to hang out with, and so it was a really harsh and abrupt end to those friendships. I mean, I still talk to some of them today, but it allowed me almost a fresh start, for better or for worse, to develop a new friend group while the circumstances just kind of split off my other relationships, pretty cleanly.
Yeah. It seems like the timing was right though, because you had started trying to figure it out and then it gave you all of this extra time where you couldn't leave anyway to really do the deep dive. What were the things that you got into first? Was it finding bigger pockets or finding people on social media that then led you to things like bigger pockets?
Yeah, so I was as part of my college real estate association, and there's a couple people who talked about investing in real estate, and I kind of heard that they did it and thought they were a little crazy. I was like, "What do you mean you buy properties in Florida and or Ohio and you don't ever see them?" Like, to me that sounds a little wacko. But like at least I heard that they did it, and they were pretty good friends, and so I knew it was possible. And so then after that, I started listening a little bit to Bigger Pockets, going to a couple of real estate meetups locally. But it wasn't until the pandemic where I actually slowed down and had some time to think. Everything else died out. I was working full time and going to college full time, and so I just never really had any time to learn a new skill, to put myself out there until like the pandemic really shut down everything. And then it was a blessing to be able to really deep dive into real estate investing education. First was Bigger Pockets, then it was like, wow, this is so cool. I'm going to start my Instagram and start to
Yeah.
document it. Then it was meeting more people. Then I joined like this free mastermind where we met every week and had homework items, and I made a bunch of friends that way. And from there, I just determined that I was going to take action. I honestly didn't even give myself time to get stuck in analysis paralysis. I
Yeah.
didn't know what. I think I was also blessed to not know a lot of stuff, and I didn't know that people analyzed 20 different markets before they chose one. I just chose one.
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I didn't know that people like submitted 20 offers. I got my second one submitted, and I really did not know what I didn't know. But because of that, I learned by doing instead of being scared for 6 months before I did anything.
I'm sure over time it's averaged out and it's still there, but was it harder in the beginning when you're new investor? And like you said, you're putting it out there. Look, I don't know anything yet, but you're really trying to grow. Was that any part of the struggle, or did you understand that that's just an unfortunate part of social media?
Honestly, I did not really get much hate at all.
That's
I think
awesome.
that people are very supportive of people who do things. Like, people don't like when people are maybe really flashy.
Right,
They
right.
don't like they don't like when people say that they're going to do something but they don't do anything, and they're just kind of like talking about doing something forever. I think one of the beauties of starting without anything is I came in from like a really humble perspective with no ego. Like, I was just there to learn. And I
Yeah,
think that people saw me grow, and through watching me grow, they actually started to take me seriously. And so there wasn't any, like, I didn't find one person in my community who told me that, like, you don't know anything, stop trying.
yeah.
It was only encouraging. There are people, when your videos go viral, who say, like, landlords are the bane of society, like, go to the trash type of thing.
Yeah,
But then you know that your video has gone viral, and
right.
and that doesn't really matter because they're not your people anyway. And so in all things, like, honestly, I haven't found people to be demeaning in any way. I've never seen being a woman to be a disadvantage in any way. If anything, I think it's actually an advantage because there just aren't as many of us.
Yeah.
There aren't as many young people and female people and minority people who are representing real estate education, and so it's an opportunity to really stand out in the crowd.
Tell us how you got to your first property, what it was, and how you financed it. Because I think that's kind of the thing that everybody is wringing their hands over. How am I going to do it? How do I get in the door? And then once you get in the door, things will open up.
Yeah, so I settled on Cincinnati, Ohio because I had gone for work. Again, I was like working full time and going to college. I was a commercial real estate broker. So I basically like leased and sold office space around the
Yeah.
country. And I went to Cincinnati to help a client. And I was really impressed with the quality of life, the food, the people, the activities, the real estate. And then I saw that it was like $100,000 of real estate
Yeah.
prices. And I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's insane. Like, I didn't even know that that existed because I'm from the Bay Area, California, where houses are over $1 million.
Yeah. For
Um,
nothing.
I,
Yeah.
for nothing. And
Yeah.
that's like a basic level house. And so
Right.
to me, was mind blown that you could buy something even for like 50, 60 grand at the time. Um, and so when I got serious, that was in November of 2019. And in 2020, when I got serious about actually investing in real estate, I just thought about, like, I met one investor who was a local broker who I was working with in Cincinnati, and he had mentioned he owned a couple rental properties. So when I got really serious about investing, I reached back out to him and said, hey, can you just like walk me around the market? Can you tell me where to invest? Where are the good neighborhoods? Where are the bad neighborhoods? Do you have an
Yeah.
agent I can talk to? And he jumped on a 1 hour Zoom call with me and said, like, generally, here are 4 zip codes that you want to focus on. He connected me with an agent. And then I just found, I was just on Zillow, analyzing deals, like watching YouTube videos, figuring out how to account for like CapEx and vacancy and like what kind of calculators to use. And so yeah, the first property I found on Zillow, I had an agent, but I sent it to my agent and said, this
Yeah.
property just fell out of contract. I'm interested in it. Can we submit an offer? And it was only the second offer I had ever submitted, and it got accepted, which I was actually really surprised about.
Yeah.
Because
Wait.
everybody, it's the
Did,
2020s. Everyone was telling me like, oh, it's gonna be so hard. You're gonna get beaten all cash, no contingencies.
right.
And I was conventional financing, contingencies, below ask, like first time home buyer type of thing. Um, so when it got accepted, I was like, oh, I guess I gotta figure everything out because I didn't even have like a pre-approval letter yet. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how they accepted my offer.
Yeah.
Like, now I think about it and I was like, I can't believe I submitted an offer without a pre-approval and it got accepted. Um, but I financed it with like 20% down at the time. It was like $25,000 that I saved
Yeah.
up from working. And I bought it without looking at it. I remember my agent kind of said to me, like, I don't really feel like this is a good first investment property. And I was like, I think it is. And so I sent my friend who I had met, the agent, not the agent, the friend who I had asked to
Yeah.
tour me around the market. And I said, can you just walk through? And if you were me, would you buy it? And he walked through and he said, like, if I were you, I would buy it. And I did buy it because of that, like, affirmative yes from
Yeah.
him. And ended up being a really good property. It cash flows like $600 per month. But it was $100,000 with great return. It's doubled in its value in the past 3 years. And I would buy that house again today if I could.